Right, welcome back to the channel everybody, it's Si here from Si Moto Photo. John Clark Motorrad, I've pulled it out of the bag. I've managed to get me a hold of one of the new R1300 GS Adventures. I am desperate to get my hands on this bike. This particular one is the ASA version, the clutchless one. So I'm even more excited about riding this to figure out what this is all about. This is just a kind of quick ride and give you a sort of my impressions of what this bike's actually like to ride compared to the 1250. I've got a BMW R1250 GS. I've had it for 4 years. I love it, absolutely love it to bits, and I'm really keen to figure out if this bike is the replacement for my bike. So this is not just a road test and a first impressions and all that kind of stuff. This is a test ride for me, a genuine test ride to see what this bike is all about. Now the guys at John Clark Motorrad have been absolutely amazing. I'll leave the link in the description. It's not sponsored, none of that. The guys are just great to deal with. I've bought bikes from in the past and they've been fantastic to deal with, and they've given me this bike for the night. So it's going to be dark in about half an hour, so I'm going to give you my first impressions of exactly what it feels like when I'm on the bike initially. Then I'll probably turn the cameras off, and then the next time you see them will be tomorrow morning, because I'm planning getting it out early in the morning and getting a really good shot in the bike, and then I'll give you all this sort of gen on what I think of it tomorrow. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump on this bike and let's get it out and get it for a ride, and let's see how it goes. So we're set up, ready to go, and I don't have a clutch lever, and this is bizarre. So do I put it into gear? I put it into gear. Right, okay. So there's a little button here that you press for drive on my right. Okay, so that's me in auto. Right, let's go. I'm going to blip the throttle and it starts to move forward. Don't do that. Right, here we go. Oh, that's easy. Okay. Okay. I'm really keen to understand, you know, I get, you know, twist and go on small bikes and stuff like that, but getting your head around a big bike like this as an automatic will be bizarre. Anyway, let's go. Right, okay. Do you know what? It actually feels lower than my GSA. Now, before I go on about this, right, this isn't one of these reviews that I'm going to bombard you with specs and things, right? There'll be plenty of reviews on YouTube for that. Oh, that was lovely, changing gear. I just want to let you know what it's like to ride. Simple as that. I just want to let you know what it's like to ride, because I've got a 1250 GSA, as I just said. I've had it for 4 years. I absolutely love it, and I just want to see if this is, you know, up to replacing it, because I've had bikes in the past that I've really loved, and I've went for the updated model and it's been a disappointment and I regretted changing it. So I really want to see what this is like, but it's lovely to sit on initially. Oh, it's weird not having a clutch, man. Right, okay. Right, okay. So it's a nice smooth gear change. It's a nice smooth gear change, and there's no dramas. It actually feels as if I'm used to this within 2 minutes. They've very kindly given me a loan of the bike tonight and letting me do some work on it tomorrow. The clocks go back tonight, so I've got a wee bit more light in the morning. So I'm going to do some riding in it in the morning, and I'm getting it back just after lunchtime back out to the guys at John Clark. So guys at John Clark, I really appreciate you doing that. I know that it's super busy. I'm not one of these manufactured vloggers and all the rest of it that you know, that get spoon-fed the bikes to go out and do everything before the bikes are launched. I'm just a normal guy who has an R1250 GS, and the guys at John Clark have been amazing at looking after me, so thanks very much, guys. But this is lovely, by the way, really nice. For anybody that's not that's new to the channel, about 2 weeks ago I did a review on the R1300 GS, not the Adventure, just the standard bike, and I mentioned that I thought the seat was quite firm, but it was actually very comfortable. I feel the same with this. The seat is quite firm, but I can already tell that this will be a comfortable seat to be doing a lot of miles on. I can just tell when I'm sitting on it that although it's a wee bit firmer, it's plenty of support and it's not uncomfortable at all. One of the things that I had in my head, right, was will this bike have the same presence as my old bike? Because I love the road presence that the GSA's got, and I'm really happy to report back it does in abundance. You've got such a lovely big wide front end on this bike. One thing I would say is you're not quite sitting in the bike as much as the old bike. You're a wee bit more perched on top, but it's not weird. It's just different. It's just different, but it's very comfortable, and it's. I would say the bars are in a better position on this bike than they are on my bike. I think these are the standard bars, and it feels more natural. Sometimes I feel as if my bars in my bike are just a wee bit. They give me a kind of burning sensation in my back sometimes. But this is lovely. That just changed down lovely there, right down the gears to come to a halt. Oh, I'm liking the ASA. Thanks to everyone who watches and everyone that's subscribed. I really appreciate it. If I earn your subscription with this video today, please consider subscribing. But you know, I love the wee community that we're building. It was off the back of, you know, the Triumph rides and stuff like that when I worked in the shop. But I've got lots more on the horizon. We're going to be doing some work with some other manufacturers very shortly, so I'll be adding them to the channel, and we'll get some news for the channel coming shortly as well. So keep posted. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe, because I've got lots of stuff happening and I'm dead excited about it, and I can't wait to share it with you. But I just want to give you a little bit of a backstory, right? And 2 seconds, right? But I used to slag these bikes, not this particular one because this is the new model, but I used to slag GSAs. I used to go, oh my god, a GSA, oh, they've definitely got a stigma attached to them, right? If you don't know, you don't know, right? If you don't know what a GSA is all about, you don't know, and they seem to get stigmatised by people who don't know. Anyway, I was one of those people who stigmatised it, right? And I was a sports bike guy, absolute dyed-in-the-wool sports bike guy, and I bought a 2019 BMW S1000 RR, and it had an issue with the front suspension, and it knocked the suspension out on the bike, and it meant that I had to get a replacement front end from BMW. So the bike was off the road for a month. So the shop says to me, look, your bike's going to be off the road for a month, we need to wait in parts coming from Germany. And I was like, oh my god, it was right in the height of the bike season as well. And they says, look, don't worry about it, we'll give you something to ride. I mean, that's one of the things about the BMW dealers, the premium dealerships, right? They look after you, absolutely look after you. But they said, look, what we'll do is we'll get you a courtesy bike, don't worry about it. So that was fine. And I says, right, cool, okay, fine. So I'm sitting waiting on them getting the courtesy bike round, and the chap goes, right, we've got your bike. Turns out it's a GSA, and I'm like, man, oh, honestly, guys, please. Because I've got sport bikes and things like that, you know, I've never had events, that's not really my thing. And they're like, look, I'm really sorry, we don't have anything else at the minute with such short notice. Height of the season, all the bikes are out, this is the only bike we've got, really. And I'm like, ah, right, okay, fair enough. So I took it, right. Do you know, right, I had that bike for a month, and I'd done 1,200 miles on the bike, and I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed riding it. And then they phoned me up to tell me that my bike was ready a month later, and I went back to collect my bike. And as I've collected my bike, they've given me the keys. I've jumped on, when you get off a GSA, right, and you jump on an S1000 RR right away, right, it feels totally extreme, right? When you ride a sports bike, you get used to it, your body gets used to it, you get used to the riding position. But when you jump on a sports bike straight after being on one of these guys, right, in absolute comfort, it's like, what? So anyway, I got on my S1000 RR and I rode it down the road, and I came off the motorway at the junction at my house, and I thought, and I just went round and round about, straight back to BMW, and I was like, how much would it cost me to change that for the GSA? And do you know something, I've never looked back, I absolutely love it. It's my own personal bike, right? It's such a do-it-all bike. It's a bike that I'll probably, you know, I'll always have in the garage. I'll have other bikes as well, but I'll always have my GSA in the garage. It's a fantastic bike, and it's a pleasure to ride it, and I'm really happy to report, right, that I absolutely feel at home on this right away, and I cannot wait to get the bike. back out on the road tomorrow morning and give you my thoughts on how the thing actually rides. But anyway, listen, it's getting dark. These GoPros are not the best in the dark. I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to get myself up the road, and the next time you see me will be tomorrow morning. Speak to you soon, alright, cheers, bye bye. Right, I know I said it was the next time you see me would be tomorrow morning, right? But I have to point this out. These new bits on the side of the engine bars are a game changer, by the way. Your legs just sit on them perfectly when you're cruising. BMW, cracking addition, tick. Right, so it's the morning after. Last night after picking the bike up at John Clark in Dundee, the rain was absolutely biblical rain, honestly. It was teeming it down the whole way down from Dundee to Glasgow. I got absolutely soaked through, but I'll tell you what it did show me, right? On the old GS, or on my 1250 GS, for some reason, when it gets raining or it gets wet, the roads get wet, you get absolutely soaked, your legs get soaked from the inside, right? I don't know if it's just all the rain cascading through the frame or whatever it is, but I've even put huggers and stuff like that on the back wheel to try and minimise it, but it still throws up oodles and oodles of water all over your legs. This is nowhere near as bad as the old bike, so that's a real plus point. So one for ticking off, because that was a bugbear of mine on the old bike, one of the only bugbears I have to say. The trophy model, right, with the fancy dancy red, white and blue paint scheme on it, which is very similar to the rally version that I've got myself. Now this isn't just a standard bike, it's got lots of, you know, little added extras to it. So you've got your Akrapovic twin silencer. Is it good? It looks fantastic, but it doesn't really make much difference to the noise, I don't think. It doesn't sound that much different to my bike, so I bet you any money that's a really expensive extra. Would I get it myself? Probably not, but if you're into your cosmetic, you know, the look of the bike, I think it really finishes the bike off. It looks fantastic. So this one's got the electrically adjustable screen, and there's a little button on the cluster that you press, and it takes you into a menu where you can select your heated grips, seat, electric windscreen. I've seen it getting a bit of criticism online. It's not actually that bad, it's just getting your head around it and getting your sort of your muscle memory about where that button is. But it's actually, I think if they put a button for every single thing on that cluster, I think it would just look really, really busy. You'd need an extension on it. So I think it's a good idea, and I think it's well executed. I just think it takes your head a wee bit of getting round to get used to it. This bike's also got your adaptive cruise control on it, and when I came home last night, I was using the adaptive cruise control for the first time, and actually it's very, very nice to use. It's very seamless. I felt as if the bike was quite predictable. It wasn't doing anything untoward. It's something that I was a wee bit wary about before, but having ridden it, coming back in the dark and in the rain last night from Dundee, I have to say it's a really good addition to the bike. This bike's fitted with a centre stand. In my opinion, a centre stand is an essential bit of kit for your bike. It just helps with everything. It helps with keep storing it in the garage. It just helps minimise space with it being lent right over on its side. It's good for maintenance on the bike. It's good for cleaning the bike. It's just a really good addition, and it's got a little change to the design of the old R1250. It's got a little fold down part at the back just to tidy it up. It's actually quite nice, and it's very easy to use, very easy to get on the centre stand as well. This one was fitted with a comfort seat, and you know, I thought that when I was sitting on it, it was a very comfortable seat, very comfortable to come down all the way down from Dundee. And when I switched the video back on last night, just to sort of comment on those extra little engine protection bars that's sticking out at the sides, see when you're on a long ride and you can just put your legs up there just to give your legs somewhere different to sit, it makes a big difference, and they're really comfortable. Your legs just sit up there perfectly, so that's fantastic, tick in the box. This one, as you know, is the ASA version, and the ASA version is really nice, actually, really nice to ride. I think it's way beyond my expectations for an automatic motorcycle. The only thing I would say is it seems that you have to select it every time you start the bike. It doesn't, you can't just, from what I can see, I might be wrong, somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but when you put it into, when you start the bike up, you have to select auto. It's always in manual as default, so I don't know if there's a way to stick it into auto all the time, because you need to remember to switch it over. When you stop the bike, it doesn't automatically go into neutral. When you put the side stand down, and when you put the side stand down in the bike, it goes into park, and you've got to press the on button and then hold the brake in and hit the start button, and then it will go into neutral and it will allow you to move it about. But when you initially stop the bike and put the stand down, it goes straight into park, which means you can't move it, which is probably quite a good safety feature. I don't know if you've got your bike parked in London or Glasgow or Edinburgh, you know, and it's sitting in park, you know, someone's not going to be able to move it. It's going to be stuck in gear, so that could be a really useful feature actually. It's very different to the R1250, but it's also very similar. It's a very familiar place to sit. It's a very familiar riding experience, but everything's just been, the game's just been upped ever so slightly on everything. It's giving you a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more comfort, a little bit more presence. It definitely feels as if it's got a bigger presence than my bike at the front, but overall a fantastic bike. So we're right early in the morning here. We've got a couple of hours ahead of us to get back up to Dundee with the bike, so I'm going to switch the camera on further up the road and we'll get a little bit of a chat about how it is on the open road. Right, so one of the big things I've noticed right with this bike, different from my old 1250, right, is when I picked up my 1250, the bike had Michelin Anarchy Adventure tyres on it, right, and the Michelin Anarchy Adventure tyres are superb. They've got fantastic grip, wet and dry grip, really good grip. I cannot fault the tyres for their road holding manners, right, and their handling abilities. But what I can say is that they're very noisy on the 1250, to the point where I just couldn't bear it. I had to change them. I just felt that they were exceptionally noisy. Like a whine, it almost sounds like a wheel bearing is away at the front of the bike, and the noise travelling up the tunnel right into your helmet and just doing your head in. So I swapped out and I bought a set of Pilot Road 6 tyres, and they are night and day in terms of noise, noise reduction. But I have to say, right, these Anarchy Adventure tyres on this bike don't sound anything like what they sounded on the 1250. You actually can't hear them. So that's brilliant. I mean, that's really good, because they're a really good tyre. They're a really good multi-purpose sort of 70-30 or 80-20 tyre. You know, if you want to tackle a little bit of fire road or forestry trail stuff, right, you can do it with the Anarchy tyres. Whereas I've got my Pilot Road 6s, and I'm like, whenever I want to take the bike, you know, up one of a fire road, because I do that quite regular. I'll go up fire roads at the back of Largs at the west coast of Scotland, and with the Anarchy Adventures, didn't think twice about it. With the Pilot Road 6s, I'm kind of like, oh right, okay. But big improvement. So whatever they've done in that tunnel, you know, at the headstock there, they must have put some kind of soundproof dampening stuff to block the noise or whatever, but it's made a massive difference. Fantastic. Now, another big difference between this bike and the 1250, and it's something that I've been critical about in my 1250 for probably about a year after I got it. I started to notice it and it started to annoy me. I think the rear suspension it's just too bouncy. It bottoms out quite easily, and it doesn't feel, it's just not really all that confidence inspiring, to be honest, the back suspension. So whenever I put my bike, and I always like, when you're going touring or you're going a big long sort of ride in the bike, it's always nice to have your bike in a sort of comfort setting, and I used to put the GS 1250 in a road setting, but it used to make me feel sick, because on the road it was very wallowy, very soft, and it's turning, when it's in the road setting, it's really lazy to turn. I didn't enjoy it at all. It's not a mode that I use at all now. I've got to stick the bike into dynamic mode to make it feel like a normal motorcycle. This is where this bike is really different. I'm in road mode at the minute in this bike, and I've been in road mode pretty much for most of the riding time that I've had in the bike. And the road mode in this bike is really, really lovely. It's nice and firm but supple at the same time, and it's got a nice sort of not wafty, but it's got a nice sort of luxurious premium feel about it that the old bike didn't have in road mode. And then I did notice that, because I took out the non-adventure GS, the standard GS, a couple of weeks back, and I'll leave a link to the review if anybody wants to sort of check in on that and see what that review was like and what I thought of that bike. One of the things I noticed on that bike was how eager it was to turn. Right, it's just so nice to turn into a corner. It's lovely. Really, it feels really dynamic to ride. It feels so much sharper than the old GS. And when this bike's in road mode, what I have noticed is it's slightly heavier to turn. Obviously it's a heavier bike, it's got a bigger tank, but you can definitely feel its heft and its bulk when you're turning in with this bike when it's in road mode. But when you put this bike into dynamic mode, phenomenal. Honestly, absolutely phenomenal. You know, BMW brought this to market, right? And the brief was, I mean, imagine being the guy, right, responsible for bringing a new GS to market, right? Given, you know, the popularity and the success story that the GS is, right? It must have been a nightmare brief, right? So go away, design a bike that's going to be this in the spirit of what people love about the GS, right? But improved. And what they've done is they've went out there and they've brought a bike back that is, you know, it feels familiar. It's bringing all the stuff that we know and love about a GS back to us, to you know, back in a more modern sort of version. But they've improved the dynamics, they've improved the, you know, the handling, the overall handling of the bike, they've improved the performance, and they've just made it look a lot more modern for the next God knows how many years. You know, I've nigh on impossible brief, and I've absolutely nailed it, so fantastic, well done. When I found out this bike was automatic, the ASA version, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. You know, I'm probably one of these old school guys that's just used to having manual control of a motorcycle. It's you know, it's in my head that I want as much control as I possibly can, and then here I am saying the new radar cruise control is fantastic on it. You know, it's this ASA automatic transmission has been a big surprise. It's really, really nice. And when I collected the bike, Kyle in Dundee, John Clark Motorrad, he brought the bike round for me, and he was like, why would anyone buy a manual now? And do you know what? Right, I'm like that with cars now, right? It's like I've had automatic cars for years, right, and I don't get why anyone would buy a manual now. It's like, it's just so nice to sit in a car and it's an automatic. But this automatic version, ASA version of this bike, right, you can ride it as a manual if you want. It's absolutely fine to ride as a manual. It's got the same quick shift capability as, you know, as just a standard quick shift bike. The only thing you don't have is a clutch to put it into first gear. It just does it, which is mad. But if you want to go cruising and you want to go, you know, a big adventure somewhere and do loads and loads of miles, and you just put it in automatic, it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. If you've not got your head around this yet, right, go and get a shot of one of these, because I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised. It's really, really nice to ride. I've been riding the bike now for, well, that was 2 hours last night and about 3-4 hours this morning, right? And I've had the heated grips on 3, and there's a couple of times I've thought to myself, geez, oh, these heated grips are really hot. I think I've bumped my hands, are that hot? The heated grips are mega. Right, that's us back. Thanks very much to John Clark Motorrad for giving us a shot of the bike. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed riding it. Do you know, and this review today was not about, you know, figures and all the soul song and dance and all the different numbers and statistics and specs and all that kind of stuff, right? I just wanted to give my take as a 1250 adventure owner. Is this a worthy upgrade to your current bike? And I'm really happy to report that it is. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's every bit of GS Adventure and more. Honestly, if you've got it in your head that you want to get a shot of one of these, get yourself down and get a shot. The automatic was the biggest surprise for me. That was really blew my mind how nice that was to ride. But listen, if you've enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing. If there's anything you'd like me to find out about the R1300, stick it in your comments below and I'll try and find out below. And you know, if anybody wants to contribute to the channel, there's a link in the description where you can contribute a gallon of fuel or a litre of fuel or a coffee. But listen, thanks very much for tuning in to Cymoto Photo. I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye.